Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the November Government Affairs meeting. It's good to see you all. This morning we have with us the Special Ed Director from the Lynn Public Schools, Dr. Christina Colella, and Dr. Jimmy McDonald, aka Jimmy Mack, to talk about a program. Jim, you've been involved with for quite a while now. Partnerships and working with students and the business community. I do see some relatively new faces with us today, so if we could introduce ourselves. I'm Rick Stabbett from Rick's Auto Collision. I'm the co-chair along with Lynn Morris of the Government Affairs Committee.
I'm Ryan Newell. I'm the Executive Director here at the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce. Next to me.
I'm Liz Champa. Right now I am at Lynn Housing and Neighborhood Development.
Glenn Morris, the chairman of Morris Architects and trustee at St. Mary's.
Sorry.
Lisa McFadden, I'm the development director at Leo Inc.
And I'm Mary Ellen Jenkins. I'm the director of the early ed programs at Leo.
Bob Frazier, I'm at last time Career Center. We're located right at the
Valerie Malerno, also my starting.
Mike Lucerdo, founder and community manager here at
Marker Rick, marketing chair at the William Hines.
Great, definitely different faces from what we're used to having the educational spin on it. So welcome to you both. Thanks for coming, and I'll turn it over to Christina.
Yeah, so again, I'm Christina Colella, Administrator of Special Education, Public Schools. This is
Jim McDonald, Assistant Director for Post-Secondary Readiness and Strategic Partnerships, and I had to read it because I'm new to the role and it's very long-winded, but basically work with our early college programs and CT partnerships and strategic partnerships outside of Lynn Public Schools. Pleasure.
All right, so today we kind of have dual purposes for being here. We have the special education lens, which I'm going to present on, and then Jimmy's going to talk about our innovation and grants department and some of what we're hoping that we can connect with the Greater Lynn community on. So in terms of our special education programming and within our department, we are actively trying to make additional partnerships to best support our students to prepare them for independence and employment. So if you don't know, we have many of our students that stay with us through age 22, and we have programming once they leave the high school to help support that independence. We have a couple different programs and different opportunities for the community to get involved and for us to best support our students. So at Lynn English High School, we have a life skills program that is, the high school life skills program. And usually around junior year, we try to start having them experience some internships in the community using public transportation to get around. We work on travel training with them, and for many of them, they then continue into our 18 to 22 programming. So we have a few different avenues in 18 to 22 programming. We have our Fresh Start program with a real emphasis on vocational training, community-based instruction, and independent living skills. So they are out in the community a lot, especially around here. So their classroom space is located at 195 Market Street right now, and so they, that's their home base. They were previously located in the Boys and Girls Club and moved over to this space this year. And then we have our 18 to 22 life skills and coach program that is currently located at Lynn Tech, but they again are out in the community a lot. So really some individualized transition plans for students, community access, and then some supported employment preparation. We do a lot of collaborating with families, agencies, and local organizations to try to best support students. So in terms of the staffing in our program, we have teachers, new this year, we have transitional job coaches. So we in the past had paraprofessionals that were supporting students, but what we were finding was we wanted to increase the level of independence that students had, and we had paraprofessionals that were providing maybe sometimes too much scaffolding and support, and so we really wanted we wanted staffing in place that could support students in acquiring some of those maybe job-related skills that they needed. So they can work with them in the community when they're, participating in different opportunities, but then also back in the school to prepare them for what they might need to do out in these internships. We have a life skills curriculum and instruction teacher, so that position supports, helping find some of our internships and connecting them and doing the scheduling behind that. And then we do still have some paraprofessionals in the program as well, one-to-ones for specific students. So these are some of the ways that local businesses can partner with us. So, we have hosting workplace tours, so introducing students to local industries, so just letting them know what happens in where you work, or a business that you're connected with. That is one great way to just have them be able to come on a tour and experience that. And even just going on the tour, getting to the tour is part of building some of their skill set, because they have to look at where is your business located, how are we going to get there, what time do we need to leave. And so there are all of those different opportunities, even within that, just like a single visit opportunity. Internships. We have connected with a lot of local businesses to provide some internships. We have students that go to the Lynn Museum. We can go and set things up there. So usually that's typically 2 days a week for a couple hours, because they're only in school from 8 to 2-ish, and they have to get there and get back, and so it's usually about 2 hours, 2 days a week. Another opportunity would be short-term or project-based opportunities. So if there's a time that you have like a high need, and you say like, oh, these 2 weeks a year, we have this project we could really use support with. I think about things like the 5K that is like run in the city, like, oh, could we like have the kids put together the bags, like the swag bags that are given out and things like that. So just like really thinking creatively about what are opportunities that you have, or businesses, like opportunities that businesses may have, where it doesn't have to be a long term, it doesn't have to be every week. It could just be something that comes up, and you could use some hands, and they could learn a new skill or be exposed to a new opportunity. And so that's one example. Career panels and guest speaking. So just even coming to the school. So they're you can come, they're in the building, you can come to the different programs. We're happy to bring programs together. We can, collaborate to, have them hear about your particular industry that you're involved in, or how you chose your career, or if there's someone who wants to speak about their own journey to getting to that career, that's a great opportunity for students as well. And then mock interviews and job coaching. So if you're someone who, wants to reach out and even, do an interview with someone or have them experience. We had some students last year in our life skills program, have a few different job opportunities, which was awesome. So something that we want to help build their skills up to have them, be able to, interview for a job and get that job. So some of our current internships, I talked about the Lynn Museum, the Bertram House, the Children's Museum over in Peabody, the Anchor Food Pantry, the Boston Food Bank, Glisper, Salvation Army, the Grind. We have a few other places that we're starting up soon in the Salem area, but we had to wait till after Halloween because you can't get over there during the month of October. It's more difficult. So other examples would be restaurants, city offices, retail, healthcare, any schools, maintenance, laundromats. We have some of the programs come to 195 Market. We have Fresh Arts housed there, but we have some students from the Lynn English program that come over to 195 Market and help us do some things around our offices as well. So it's, part of it is just like the getting out of their school space and utilizing the different modes of transportation to get there. We do have, we're lucky for the Eastern Bank, when they left 195 Market, they were very generous and gave a large donation, which allowed us to purchase some additional vans, which will be helpful for some of those like more difficult to get to locations, or like, in Salem, if we have 3 internships that are all going, in the Salem area, it makes sense to be able to take the van over there and, do different stops to be able to have students get out to those places.
I think another part of that is we do have some internal internships that happen. We have Bed for Every Child where they get the kit, they count the bolts so they can package them and give them to the individuals that are putting it together. You don't know their model, they say the chamber wanted to buy a bed to give to a family. Well, they have the components and some of our kids were putting the bags together for all the hardware, the bolts and screws. So that way, when somebody picks it up from Bed for Every Child, it's ready to go. We worked with the Blue Ox and we put the stickers on the bags. So students would take bags and put stickers on it. We did some, throughout the years, it's changed. So we have a lot in the community, but we also have some indoor stuff as well. That we do at either 195 Market Street or Lynn Tech Annex. We also internally, Lynn Public Schools have had them distribute the nursing supplies, so count how many boxes of gloves in each order and stuff like that internally. So that's some internal stuff that maybe the chamber could collaborate with. So just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, definitely great examples, and then they don't have to go anywhere, like there are like, windows of time during the day that they can work on these their vocational skills and doing some of that work that doesn't necessarily need them to leave and go out. These are just some pictures because they're doing some great work. So this is over at the Bertram House. They're getting, they get the menu set up, the table set up, so they're learning all about those things. This is another great example of how the job coaches can help, because they can go back to the school and talk about, okay, like, remember when this table setup looked like this is, we're gonna, practice to make sure that we remember, like, this is where the forks go, this is where the spoons go. They probably know better than me at this point.
You didn't do that one?
No, I didn't know. I did not hold that napkin like that.
I mean,
Yeah. But this top picture is the wash cycle laundry. So they took a tour of their location, and they've been great working with us on that, and we're hoping to get some opportunities through there. We have the Anchor Food Pantry that's right over in Swampscott. It's like right on the Lynn Swampscott line, so good location for us. But they do some inventory there and unpacking of boxes and things like that.
So I'll give you an example of wash cycle laundry. I sort of cold called Freddie Cepetis and said we have some groups of students that we're looking to connect. How do we make it work? And we sat down, we invited myself and Omi, my wife, who works for assistant director of special ed, and he said, how do we make this work? How do we collab? And we said, we'll bring in number of students in a group can you hold? And he said 10. So we had 2 classrooms come in, tour, and he says, I know you're looking for internships and potentially paid employment. How do we make this work? So currently he's going to take 2 interns, I believe, and he's hoping to employ them. So it's sort of a cold call that looks great. It's accessible for us because it's down the street and they could take the T or they could potentially walk. So I think that grew very well, very quickly. It takes a lot to develop these relationships, and he was really excited to bring some of our students there. So I just wanted to give you an example of how that worked and came to fruition.
So these are just some of, the benefits for businesses in the community is meaningful impact, so supporting youth and strengthening the city's future workforce, diversity inclusion, contributing to inclusive employment pipeline. That again, we have the staff support to send to be able to, help with the job coaching, things that they can work on in advance, even to get them ready for an opportunity. Recognition, we like to try to celebrate the partners that have worked with us. And then, the community connection, building strong relationships between the local schools and employers. I think this shifts to Jimmy's role and some of what the Innovation and Grants Department.
Did Jessica see this one?
No, I just hit design.
Oh, perfect. So I give you, over the weekend, had some maintenance issues at my mother-in-law's house, so we're on the go here. So I started with the Lynn Special Ed as a teacher, then guidance, and then working under Dr. Colella as transition specialist for the district, and that came to fruition. And then 2 weeks ago, I actually transitioned to my new role with Innovations and Grant. So I just wanted to give you an overview of that. I also want to thank Ryan for having us here today. We sat down, I think in September, and we talked about, what our programs needed, and you were happy to have us, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody for being here. So Department of Innovations Grant is a new department with Lynn Public Schools focused on CT pathways, early college, and strategic partnerships within Lynn and the surrounding community. Basically, post-secondary success in any form, in any way, and how do we get students to gainful employment, from our life skills students all the way up to our AP students and our students that are taking early college. The why is, why would somebody take early college? To get free college credit, get a segue and an opportunity to shorten their college career, right? So they can graduate with potentially up to an associate's through some of our programs. So that is the why, and it saves a lot of money, a lot of time, because if you start with credits in your pocket, you're more likely to graduate college, right? Because you're turning a 4-year program into 3 or 2, potentially. So that's how it looks like. I'm new to the position, so I don't know all the answers. I would say that right now, where I'm like 2 weeks in, and up until last week, I was writing reports for the special education department. So yeah, so this sort of fits in nicely from where I've been and where I'm currently. So this is just some of the work that the department focuses on. Again, early college pathways, innovation, but we also manage and write grants to support new programming. So for instance, we're currently working on a CT grant for environmental sciences at BTI. So that can look like, from a $5,000 grant to a $5 million grant, right? To support some of this. That's capital improvements, that's startup costs, that's that needs to be factored into some of these grants. And then we're making sure that we're reaching all students at every level, diversity, equity at the forefront. So I just wanted to give you guys, I'm new to the department. Some of you have never heard of our department, but we're under Dr. Shannon Gardner as our executive director, sort of manages the whole group. She speaks at school committee pretty frequently about our programming and where we're going and what type of funding. For example, a few weeks ago, she talked about the innovations pathways potential that we are seeking out from the state. Noel Bowie, me. Right? I'm new to the role. Noel Bolio focuses on our credit recovery programs and some other extended learning, summer learning as well. We use a program called Ingenuity that helps students access courses that they weren't able to take or need to recover. So for instance, stay on track to graduate, right? Because the high school diploma is important for their pathway to success. Marissa Angeli probably has worked with Mass Hire a lot. She's been with the department for a number of years now. She works with some students that are on internships. And some data with Mass Hire as well, and some other data points. And then DeRacy, Derek, and Sarah and Frank are early college coordinators at each high school. There's 2 at English because of the numbers, and we also have some students that go to Salem State. They go on campus for the afternoon and take some courses, so they're transported up there. They're part of Salem State community. I think the other really great thing about our early college programs, they're considered a Lynn Public Schools student and also our partners. So North Shore Community College, they're on campus for our Frederick Douglass program. They are at the high school at English and Classical. So I just wanted to give you also, we also have Donna Doucette, who is our district guidance counselor that helps support some of the needs with our guidance department. It's a slightly new position, even more than my position, because we had Jenny Winter who left to go to Georgetown. So I wanted to share an overview of the who's. So again, this is some of the activities in recent years. Again, new department, but also we have dual enrollment CTE pathways, managing those. Grant funding opportunities, right? You're supposed to align your grant seeking with your strategic plan, bless you. So you don't change your priorities to go get grants. You will, if it aligns with your mission and your goal, then you seek the funding to help support that, right? So that's how that sort of comes about. Some of our advanced coursework AP, we've expanded, and we've also helped with the expanded literature courses with curriculum. So it's sort of working within Lynn Public Schools as well. So project-based learning is a focus this year. And again, strengthen those partnerships with North Shore Community College, Salem State, and other post-secondary opportunities for students for success. Right. Again, we're trying to focus on underrepresented students in various levels, including socioeconomic disadvantaged students. So when we talk about early college and the why, we talk about money, right? I think it was a 2008 white paper from the Obama administration that talked about the gateway to the middle class is the college degree, likely to earn more. It's not the only focus of Lynn Public Schools in our department, but that advanced coursework to get advanced placement in college is the idea, and saving money. Again, eliminate barriers, transportation and scheduling and awareness. So getting students to these colleges and to potentially work sites as well. And then working with partners like Mass Hire, North Shore Community College, Salem State, and our internships and work-based learning that we currently have, and trying to foster more. And keeping the students at the center. All right, and so these are our strategic goals. We're really trying to focus on increasing our economically disadvantaged students to advance coursework. Again, I'm sort of repeating myself, but that's okay. Project-based management, experimental learning. So, collectively given a task and how it works together and building something collaboratively. I think about like one of the middle schools that from the open house for my daughter. We had a task with some random parents and they just gave us a task and we had to try to build something. And it was like a cool experience because we didn't know each other and we just thrown together and we had to put it together. And it was like one of the funnest open houses I've ever had. But we can tell you about that more because it was good. Again, growing community partnerships such as the chamber or any other opportunities that Lynn Public Schools can collaborate with to the success of students would be beneficial. And we're hoping to grow that. And then sustainable grant funding, right? Again, we're not seeking grants to change our mission. We're getting grants to support students in our mission.
So this is, kind of the wrap up of what we have. We have, different opportunities for ways for local businesses to get involved, hosting a student, partnering on internship, sharing information on part-time jobs or positions that might align with some of the work they're doing in school through some of their advanced coursework. Scheduling a visit to your business so that they get an understanding of what the day-to-day looks like. So this is the contact information for myself and Jimmy. A big thank you for having us here today, and we're hoping that we can work together to find every student opportunities in our community and workplace. So happy to take any questions or brainstorm any thoughts that anyone has. It's we just like need to cast like a wide net. So even if like maybe you don't have something, but now you've heard this presentation and can phone a friend or call a couple people and reach out to the businesses that and that I think has been one of the ways that we've been most successful. It's like, okay, well, maybe you don't have something right now, but who does? And who can, what opportunities are there? What thinking creatively about it, even as you're doing something in the year and you're like, oh, we could have the kids working on this with us, that. Those are the things that we want to be part of that thought process and have multiple people that you can reach out to make sure that we stay connected and are utilizing as many opportunities we can in the community because we want things to be accessible to students, and when they do move on to different programming at 22, the experiences that they've had in our community are going to make a big difference for them.
Any questions?
I can give an example of how that looked like. If you remember, I still have some great pictures. Rick hosted a group of Fresh Start students a number of years ago, and he went into the detail of his shop and what it looks like. And I remember they got to see, they've probably never been in an auto body shop before, right? And some liked cars, some was their first experience. But that hands-on, one time off maybe led to students knowing more about the process. Our Fresh Start students have gotten employment over the years in various settings. Some of our individuals get state support after they turn 22, but that just was like an outreach. You made it work, and I appreciate that. And I just wanted to share an example of what that looked like.
I think it's good to give the kids, whether they, go to work there or not, to give them an opportunity to kind of see what's behind the curtain. I think in every place, and just like you showed with the laundry down on the Linway, a place that we did a ribbon cutting down there and got to tour it ourselves, that ultimately turned into employment for them. So what are some of the skills and also some of the limitations that the students have?
Great question.
It's a pretty big range, I would
Right.
say. I think that if they're, we definitely can work with students to set them up with the right opportunity. We have certain internships that some kids just are not interested in. And so we're not going to send them there because that's not setting anyone up for success. Like the business, it's not setting the student up for success. So, we try to, they do a lot of interest surveys and getting to know the students to find out what they like. And also sometimes we have to push a little bit and say you know, maybe this isn't what you picked, but like, we want you to try this out. And if it doesn't work, then, you know, it doesn't work. And we have, you know, some students that are much more independent and some students that, you know, need more of that like one-to-one support. I think with the transitional job coaches, we're in a good place to like set students up for success if they know what it's gonna look like. So some of the transitional job coaches are going out, meeting with places and saying like, what is this gonna look like when they come in? They get them ready back at the school, they can do some of those experiences. So, you know, the goal is for them to have as much independence as possible, but, you know, just like following like the multi-step directions, like, is there, you know, can we make them a checklist so that they know when they're at the Bertram House, they like put the menus in and then they, you know, set the tables and they do all those things and we try to support some of that so that they're successful and have that level of independence.
So that can look like different, we have students, when we talk about special ed programming, students on a feeding tube, all the way up to students that maybe they could qualify the diploma, they pass the MCAS, but they need a little bit more support before they become fully independent. We've had students that would enter our programs and they stay for a year and then they sign out and they take the diploma, because that sort of ends their special ed services. But maybe they just needed to know, maybe they were lacking the skills to get to a job.
Yeah, the
what that looks
transportation,
like.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's where the job coaches came in. We saw that as a need because we wanted them to gain that independence. So they just needed a little encouragement, a little bit more direct instruction of the process, because, you know, I have friends that don't use the MBTA because they're nervous about it. They probably didn't do it with somebody in their family, and then they don't know how to read a schedule, right? And coming, it seems simple, but you know, for students that have never done it independently, that might be the only barrier is their transportation, and that's why we try to provide it with Lynn Public Schools, with the vans, but also with using the MBTA and the ride and some other resources.
It's gotta feel pretty good when you know, take kids to some place like, you know, Wash Cycle and then have them wind up, you know, employed there.
Right. I think about it as like a mini co-op, right?
Yep.
We have students entering ninth grade, know probably maybe nothing about auto body, right? And then they go through their programming and then they do well, and then they might end up at Rick's, they might end up at Marion's Street, but you know, hopefully they have gainful employment. Some go through the CTE fields and they don't do it. You know, I'm doing this with my daughter right now in ninth grade, trying to figure out, but I hope she picks a career that she loves.
Any question?
I don't know if this is a dumb question, because I don't know, like, so is this just for students in special education? Because that's what you guys been talking about.
So my department is special education, so we're looking for, you know, opportunities for students, especially specifically during the workday. But I think that innovation and grants through Jimmy's new department is definitely looking to expand opportunities for students beyond the school day, because many of them are, you know, they have a full class schedule and they don't have the flexibility. I think there is a little bit of that as they get to senior year, and a little bit of flexibility with that, but.
I think with our early college programs, there is more flexibility because they say, colleges have breaks that are longer than the high school, so when they finish their coursework in December, they usually have about a month off, but then they beginning of May to mid-June, they have some time. So to fill that you know, block of time, sometimes it could be an hour and a half or 3 hours, specifically depending on the student's schedule. We look for partnerships in that way. So similar, and we have special ed students that are involved with our early college programs as well. We have a number of students at our Frederick Douglass program, Salem State. So a little overlap between our two presentations. And I just wanted to introduce you to the department, and it is similar in some ways with the goal of getting students either employment, internships, or work experience.
Yeah.
And then what's the grind? That was one of the.
So the grind is a baseball, softball facility in Salem. And that was like a cold call. I'm like, I grew up with the husband and wife team that opened it, and so I called her. I was like, hey, I'm like, we have this group of kids, and she's like, oh my God, this is amazing. She's like, these are all the things I do every week that I could absolutely have them do for me. And so they, they like, help like with the organization of things and the stocking, and like she just has like a clear criteria that she uses there.
Yeah, member Optech services on there. I know they've hired.
Optech has done some things for us in the past as well. Yeah, they did some leaf picking up at Lynn English one year. Yeah.
But just from a perspective, these kind of a year ago, just over a year ago when I started, we started making relationships with Lynn Public Schools through tech originally. We started with their culinary program. We do host a lunch there every year. Then we work closely with the audio and video. They've done a lot of our events. And then Christine Tobacco has reached out to us in some of their projects that they have going on. Dr. McDonald reached out. So we are building a partnership with different branches of, so what started with the tech and, thinking about co-ops, it's branched out, and we're having a good relationship, not only with Lynn Public Schools, but looking at like North Shore Community College, Salem State University, St. Mary's have all partnered with us. So there are opportunities to work with these students and try to build that bridge between the business community and the schools. I would also like to thank Dr. McDonald and Dr. Colella. Dr. Colella spoke a little bit about casting that wide net. When I originally met her, she was principal of Shoemaker School where my son was going. It was a huge loss for Shoemaker, and Dr. Colella left, but that wide net is better for the city of Lynn and all our students, so thank you.
Sorry, wait, you have one more question?
I'll let
Sorry.
me.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm McCarthy. I'm from the Oddballs. I run the Classroom Streets program, and I know some of the difficulties we ran into this summer with the students that we worked with was transportation. And also we had one student in particular who was under the care of DCF. And like who our coordination was, often she wasn't able to get there because of transportation, us providing meals. And I love that the chamber is participating and encouraging this because it was so rewarding, and really some of the skills that we were able to work with these students are collaborative thinking, creative thinking, partnership, time management, all of which sets them up for success going forward, whether they're continuing on university or they're heading out into the workforce. Those initial skills, also advocating for themselves, empowerment, knowing that their voices matter, they are absolutely imperative for our students going forward.
Do you have another question?
I'll let Michael go.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So, just a couple of good points and maybe an invitation to not dive deep into it right now, but like have a follow-up conversation. So, so I founded this space. I grew up with a learning disability myself. They say that like people with learning disabilities, you have to lead them to their genius, right? And they really do well with entrepreneurship because they're always thinking outside the box. This is the box that's given to me, and this is the way the system works, and they have to find their way around it. So they become really good at problem solving and so it's one of the things that we work on here. If there's an interest in doing something with that, and also like we have 55 different people who ran businesses here. So if you're looking for any connections to those, happy to
Absolutely.
pass those on. So it's more like an invitation to like listen to that conversation. Yes. I think there's a lot we can do here to help that program.
That's something I was gonna mention. I think that we should probably have like a field trip to this space if you want to bring some of your students here, and we can open it up to some of the other entrepreneurs as well as some of our businesses to maybe come and meet. Just, it's a first step.
An internship, but they have like
Yeah, you know what, 2 years ago, I was trying to get in touch with the Y, and there was one director and then a different director, and then so like, yes, please, like if.
So, but there's like other opportunities, like when they do events, when they do like a Healthy Kids Day or anything like that, where you're creating their own events. Maybe that's why I asked if it's just for special education, because I don't know like the level or what they. that's. And then another thing I wanted to mention is, I know that transportation is a really big hurdle for a lot of people. I do a lot of work with criminal justice reform. And like a lot of people can't even get, well, they get released and they have no transportation to get to anywhere, either shelter, family member health. A lot of people have vehicles, licenses, and stuff like that. I'm working on raising money to, not just for like this, but just in general for high school students to be able to get their permit, their license, and then take the driving, like, driving test. So they get their license, and you know how difficult that is. If that's something that we can discuss further to give people the opportunity. I mentioned it to someone and they're from Wisconsin, and their high school, that was a part of the curriculum, was giving them their license. I think Swampstead High does it too, but like, if that's something that we work, because transportation is a really big obstacle for a lot of people.
I think that's something that we could definitely elaborate on. I know Rick years ago was trying to get that model, and there's some barriers for like a school system to get involved. I don't, you know more than me.
Yeah, it was a struggle.
But if you're working outside and we can like refer students or collaborate, that might be a good point of contact in that way. Like, we have a student that might want to might need a job or working, and the only barrier to get over to, even a place like Lynn is the MBTA. They can't take the MBTA. Maybe Uber's a little bit out of their price range because they don't want to spend $12 to go work, make $15 an hour. So, the finances don't add up for some individuals. So that would be great if we.
Any other questions? If I could, going back to the little tour that we did at my shop. If I could, suggest anything, even if it didn't turn into employment, if you have a place that you can invite them in to take another look around. Because I think that when they drive down the street and they see a particular business, they kind of, hey, I know what goes on. Or even like a fire department or what, I know what goes on. And I'd be open to have them come back to my place as well. So with that, I'd like to. Oh, sorry.
Hi, morning everyone. My name is Corey Williams. This is Gary Garcia. We're both the owners of Fort Focus Studio, a photography and videography studio in Linfield. I see some familiar faces. We went to the poker bar crawler. Yeah, it was really good. We're not chamber members yet, but we wanted to come here to get this information because we do plan on joining in January and getting a big rollout with that. And this is something that interests us a lot, especially like the internship and volunteering and things like that, because we're currently partnering with Mass Art for photography and videography internship. So one question that I did have is, in terms of the students coming, I guess, to our location, what will be the length of the, like, is it just for like the school semester? Is this something that could extend during the summer? Is it like what is the range in terms of the?
Yes, it depends. We have students that sometimes rotate through different internships, so we have, provide this different groups of students the same opportunity. We do have a summer program, so we have many of our students. Last year, the summer program was housed at Marshall Middle School, so we were like, Anchor was very accessible to us, so they went over to Anchor frequently to do some internships over there. But certainly, like, I would say like 11 months. I would close to 11 months. There's a few weeks in August that we're not in school, and that's about it. Other than like school vacation, so like that much.
Yeah, I think that would be like time wise would be the school vacations for some. But maybe that's an opportunity if we can make it happen, we'll try.
Yeah, I also wanted some, because for like example, our partnership with Mass Art, they're more so semester credit based. So it's more so structured like a job, 10 to 20 hours a week during the spring semester. So I was just wondering, how would this fit?
Sounds pretty flexible.
Yeah, we're definitely open, a lot of opportunities. So, and we have, the staffing with the transitional job coaches, like, we have the ability now to take like smaller groups of students to different places. So we're not like showing up with like the whole class, which is like overwhelming and doesn't necessarily work. But we have like, one job coach with, 3 students, and they're able to, do some different things.
I did just get a text from Coach John Hogan, who's running the next 5K of our series, and he's on board with having them put the race packets together.
Awesome.
So work on that. So
That's nice.
And he's in the fresh start, isn't he?
Yeah, It's so happy.
Been there forever.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm complete, and I'm not missed a lot of things, so I do apologize. Next, I am the director of programs at Group Sterling Salem. When you talk about, I know we partner with a lot of like school districts, like, we have students who come from PLA, PB Learning Academy, and get credits if they come through our cohort, and also Peabody Alternate School. So there's schools that work with us to give credits for our program. Is that something you guys do or
Yeah.
you're able to do?
Yeah,
So we had some students at Fresh Start, 2 of them go through Roots, but it was a number of years ago. And they went through the program and then that's how they landed the internship from Roots. I think Michael May might have been the
Yeah.
director at that point. And so they started out, got all their certificates and did the whole program and did fantastic. And one was working when he aged out at Hawthorne Hotel, doing like salads,
It's still
salad.
there.
And yeah, another one was at Border Cafe in the morning and getting all the silverware together, so he'd come in, it was both part-time, but I think the student that's at Hawthorne has been there for a number of years.
All right.
yeah. But yeah, I think that through like innovation grants, I think that there's opportunities for students to get credit, like work credit as well.
And we could always set up a tour and a presentation if you guys ever want to do that, whether I come to y'all or you guys come. It's better when you come. If you get demonstrations, you get chocolate cookies.
That's
Oh, okay.
When's that till?
Yeah.
No,
No, we could definitely, if everyone, if you wanna host a meeting at Group, we can figure that out and make it happen for y'all. Cause I would love for y'all to see the space.
Is that after the bar crawl?
You missed that, David.
Great. Maybe we can collab on both.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Dr. Colella, Dr. McDonald, thank you very
Thank
much. It was
you.
great having you. We have a busy calendar in the chamber, and Ryan just wants to touch on a few things.
One of the things I want to mention, another collaborative we have with Lynn Public Schools, they have a financial literacy class coming up. We're looking for volunteers. Don't have to be a specialist in any part of it. There's different booths set up, and one's entertainment, housing, transportation, financial planning of, retirement plans and stuff. So they're looking for volunteers. If you can grab one of these pamphlets, the event is going to be open to all the high schools, all the Lynn Public High Schools. It's Friday, November 21st from 9 to 11:30. I did the event last year. They had it 2 different days. It's a great event, and you get to, hear some of the things that these kids are thinking about and, help them. So looking for volunteers, please grab a flyer.
And then we've got the holiday.
Yeah, December 9th. Thank you. Michael, December 9th, we have in Central Square, we have the Festival of Lights. And then you have the Festival of Trees coming up.
Yep, the Lynn Tech Festival of Trees, it's the Lynn Tech Alumni Association's largest fundraiser. Folks donate trees, and it really has become a great Lynn tradition to kick off the holiday season. It begins this coming Sunday, runs through next Saturday. So come on in, it's a great time. We've got the Holiday Community Credit Union.
Yes, you
Didn't mean
do.
to put the executive
Michael.
director on the spot.
Sure, Michael.
But just a couple of things that were coming up, and Michael. Let's incubate here. Two quick things I wanted to mention. One, Rick's got one of those in his hand. We're doing a 90s style prom at the Music Foundation, not this Saturday, but the Saturday afterward, as a fundraiser. So if anybody is interested in supporting local music and reliving their 90s prom with Kowloon, another great chamber member, serving food. We got the Julie Kramer, the former DJ from WFNX, when WFNX used to broadcast, they will be DJing. So if you can make that, great. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we all know that a lot of our nonprofit friends are sort of struggling in the moment right now. So what we're doing here is anyone who needs a membership to the co-working space between now and the end of the year, we're donating 50% of their membership to a nonprofit of their choice. So if people are looking for office space or places to teach classes or whatever it may be, that's our give back for this holiday season. So I just want to mention that to the crowd. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Mike. And this meeting, the government affairs meeting takes place here the second Wednesday of every month at 8:30, and you're always welcome to attend. And we are working on next month's meeting now. So with that, have a great day, everyone. Thanks for coming. Again, thank you, Dr. Colella, Dr. McDonald. Have a great day.